Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Keytime Sports. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, and the keyonmillions.co. Here is my media feed. Here is my profile so that you will know it's me. And here is my merchandise. We just made merchandise for this month. We have 3 new shirts that are on the fold. Next month we are going to be rolling out more and more merchandise for children, adults, and families all over. So now let's get into the team that I am going to be talking about today, and that is the Orlando Magic. Now, we all know that the Orlando Magic have a great theme song, and I'm about to play it. So, right now, the Orlando Magic is 7th, but I am going to play the song. And if anybody knows what I'm talking about, this is what I'm talking about right here. Whoa, Orlando Magic. Whoa, abracadabra, alakazam. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, now back to the segment. The Orlando Magic, they are 24 and 22 right now. They are on the outside looking in of the top 6. But right now they are at the 7th spot in the East. At the 7th spot in the East, just let me get it up. The standings. So, the Orlando Magic, the Orlando Magic are now at the 8th spot in the East, and it seems like they are starting to lose grip because for the last week and a half they were in the 7th spot, but the Miami Heat won their previous game, and now they are in the 7th spot. So there's just a few things that I want to talk about with the Orlando Magic. We all know that the Orlando Magic is led by Pablo Banchero, Desmond Bain, Gordo Batiste, Anthony Black, Jamal Cain, Wendell Carter Jr., Colin Castleton, Tristan Da Silvia, Jet Howard, Jonathan Isaac, Tyus Jones, Noah Pinda, Jace Richardson, Orlando Robinson, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, and Mortez Wagner. And the head coach is Jamal Mosley. Now, coming into the season, I said that the Orlando Magic are one of the youngest teams in the NBA, and they could possibly win their first round series matchup because 2 years ago, Orlando Magic won their first round series matchup, and the Magic last year they kind of took a step back. They lost to the Celtics in the first round of the NBA playoffs, but this year when we see their statistics, we all know that Pablo Banchero is the leading scorer with 22.2 points per game. Well, excuse me, Franz Wagner is the leading scorer for the Orlando Magic. 22.2 points per game. Pablo Banchero, 21.9. Desmond Bain, 19 points. Anthony Black, 15.8 points. Jalen Suggs, 14.4. Wendell Carter, 12.1. Trey DeSalvia, 9.1. Mortez Wagner, 8.3. Greg Baptiste, 5.9. Jalen Richardson, 5.5. Noah Penda, 5 points. Jet Howard, 4.8. Tyus Jones, 3.1. Jay Isaacs, 2.8. Jamal Cain, 2.7. And Orlando Robinson, 1.8. So, one thing that I want to say is we all know that the Magic, they are one of those teams that we didn't expect much from them coming into the season, but they get an opening night win against the Miami Heat. Then they go on a 4-game losing streak. Then you win over Charlotte and Washington. We know that the Orlando Magic are better than both of those teams. Then you lose to Atlanta. I get that. Bad shooting night for Orlando. Then you win versus Boston, lose versus Boston, go on a 3-game winning streak. Then you lose to Houston. You beat Golden State, the Clippers, and you beat the New York Knicks. The Boston Celtics, you lose versus them. San Antonio Spurs, you lose versus them. Miami, you win. New York, you lose. Miami, you win. New York, you lose. And it seems like I'm sounding like a broken record, but this is the Orlando Magic have had season. Their season has been alternated. They win 3 here, lose 3 here. Like, you can even see with this schedule right here. You lose versus Golden State, win versus Portland. You lose versus Charlotte. You win versus Denver. And I was surprised that they won versus Denver. Toronto, you lose. Indiana, you win. Chicago, you lose. Indiana, you win. Washington, you lose. Brooklyn, you win. And it's just been alternating wins. That's all. Philadelphia, you lose. Memphis, you lose versus Memphis. You win versus Memphis. Then you lose versus Charlotte, Cleveland again. And then you win versus Miami on Wednesday night. Now tonight, the Magic, they have Toronto. So, one thing that I can say about the Magic is we all know that Pablo Banchero is their leading scorer no matter what. I know that their big 3 that I see with the Magic is Pablo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and Jalen Suggs. Because we all know that Jalen Suggs is an X factor from the 3-point line. When he starts to get hot, he can make 5 threes within a quarter. But there's one thing, they are just more stronger teams, more advanced teams when it comes to the Eastern Conference. Not to mention that most of the teams that the Magic have lost to have been better teams in the East. New York Knicks, Boston Celtics. They lost to the Detroit Pistons. Those are all teams that are better than them. And they also lost to the Miami Heat just the other night. So, one thing about the Orlando Magic is are they going to be a team that is going to take that next step, or are they just going to be a team that can't get over the hump? Now, the Magic have been a playoff team for the last, I want to say 3 or 4 years, and they've gotten to, I'm just going to say the last 2 years, because they've gotten to this point where it's first round win, versus Cleveland a couple years ago. Then last year, first round loss versus the Boston Celtics. So now their remaining schedule is going to be tough. Starting off with tonight, you have Toronto, you have San Antonio, you have Oklahoma City. So your next three games start tonight. And they are all against top teams in the NBA. Then you have a little sweet spot after that 3 game stretch. You have Brooklyn, Utah, Milwaukee twice, Sacramento. Then you have Phoenix, which is no slouch. You have both LA teams, the Clippers and the Lakers. Then you have Houston, then Detroit. Detroit is also no slouch. They are tough, and I am going to do a segment on the Detroit Pistons next week. So that is their next, I'm going to say next 12 games. Next 12 games. And then after March 1st, Detroit. Then you have kind of a little bit of an easier pathway. You have Washington, which is a tune-up game, should be a tune-up game. Then you have Dallas. We all know that Dallas is at the bottom of the West. If not at the bottom, they are in the barrel of being at the bottom. Minnesota, always going to be a tough matchup with Anthony Edwards. Milwaukee, maybe, probably can get a win there. Cleveland, maybe, probably can get a win there. Washington, win. Miami, maybe, probably can get a win there. Then you have Atlanta on Peacock, which is March 16th. It's on Peacock. Then you have Oklahoma City. Now, Oklahoma City, I'm going to do a segment on them too next week, because sometimes Oklahoma City, they are a little bit vulnerable. And especially, it seems like that for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, they wasn't able to get over the hump with the San Antonio Spurs. But after the Oklahoma City Thunder, they play Charlotte, Los Angeles, Indiana, Cleveland, Sacramento. Then you play Toronto, Phoenix, Atlanta again. Then you play Dallas, New Orleans, Detroit to finish out. And then you play Minnesota, Chicago. Chicago, they may be a play-in tournament team, but I don't see them getting very far. And for the last game of the season, you play Boston in Boston. So I am also going to be doing a Boston Celtics segment next week as well, because we don't know if Jason Tatum is coming back, but the Boston Celtics, they do have a fighting chance at making the playoffs, America, as you can see when it comes to the standings right here. If I can get it back up. Come on, team. Can you get it? Thank you. So the Boston Celtics are the number 3 spot in the East right now. And who knows, you possibly have Jason Tatum coming back before the elusive playoff run. And also, when it comes to the Orlando Magic, we also have to think about their past playoff failures and what will be different this time around. So I'm going to go back into the Orlando Magic historic archive. So we all know that they started out as a team back in 1889-90. That was their first season. Then we start with the 90s. We see that 93, 94, they were in the playoffs. 95, they made it to the playoffs. 96, they made it to the playoffs. 97, they weren't in the playoffs. 99, they were in the playoffs. 2000, they didn't make the playoffs. Then you have 01, 02, and 03, they made the playoffs. Then they have a 3-year absence. 07, 08, 09, and 10, they made the playoffs. Then 11, they made the playoffs. 12, 2012, they made the playoffs. And then it was a six-year absence from the playoffs. And then you get to the most recent history. They made the playoffs in 2019. They lost versus the Raptors in the first round. 2020, they lost to the Bucks in the first round. Then 21, 22, 23, they did not make it. Then the last 2 years, we get the present day. The last 2 years, they've lost to first round versus the Cleveland Cavaliers in 24. Last year, they lost to the Boston Celtics in the first round. So, one thing that the Orlando Magic need to work on is taking that next step when it comes to being a playoff contender, because we already know that they are a good team that can make it to the play-in tournament and also can also make it tough for somebody in the first round. But I'm going to say 4 out of the last 8 years, you gone home in the first round. So the Magic, can they take that next step and making it to the playoffs? Now, if the playoffs were to start today, well, basically, if the play-in tournament was to start today, the Magic, they would be facing the Atlanta Hawks. Now, I believe the Magic would beat the Atlanta Hawks in a play-in tournament game, and they would face the winner of, as it's currently constructed, the Miami Heat or the Chicago Bulls. And then whoever wins out of the Orlando Magic, Miami Heat, or the Orlando Magic, Chicago Bulls will play that first round, will play the Detroit Pistons in the first round. So that is a lot, and I do mean a lot of things that are still in motion when it comes to the Eastern Conference playoff bracket. And next week, I'm going to get into the Western Conference playoff bracket. But for the finality, and I know that this is going to go quick, I'm surprised that this segment actually lasted longer than it did. But for the finality of the Orlando Magic this season, I could see them, I'm going to go back to their remaining schedule. Right now, I could see the Magic winning another, I'm going to say 25 to 30 games, being somewhere in that 50, 55 win frame. And whoever they play in the first round, this is obviously going to hinge on who they play in the first round. They may be the favorite in the first round because year after year of getting to the playoffs and losing in the first round, any player is going to get tired of that. I played sports in middle school and high school. Now I do have playoff experience. I do. Back in 2012, we couldn't beat this team. My school, we couldn't beat this team for nothing. But that third year, we were able to break through. And even though we ended up losing in the championship, we were able to build camaraderie, and we know what it took to get to that point. And we get to 2012. So 6 years later, we were able to win the championship. Now, it did take a long time for us to get back there, but we got back there and we got the trophy. And in sports, that's one question that everybody asks. How long is your window of opportunity is open? We don't know. As the average fan and as an NBA spectator myself, I don't know if this team is going to get back to this point and be in this situation year after year, but they have a young bunch. The Magic, they are the Hold on, wait a minute. The board is coming up. The Magic are the third youngest team in the NBA at an average of, I'm going to go back to their roster, an average age of 25. And the oldest person that is on this list is 29. So everybody on the Magic is not even 30 yet. So they still have a chance at finding a way, breaking their way, and getting to the playoffs. And not just getting into the playoffs, but actually being a playoff contender and a championship contender. I know that this is a lot that is asking from the Magic, but when it comes to the Magic, momentum has to be on their side and everything has to fall into place. Everything has to fall into place. So, one last take I'm going to have when it comes to the Magic is their best defensive guy is Desmond Bane. He's a defensive specialist. And I don't know if you want to put your best defensive player on the opposing team's best scorer because Desmond Bane, he's also he's also a decent scorer. So you are going to need those points later on in the playoffs. That also includes how far the Magic make it to the playoffs. So all in all, the Orlando Magic, they have a good chance at making the playoffs. And I do believe that they are going to make the playoffs because at the start of the season, I said that the Magic will make the playoffs. And they have a game tonight versus the Raptors. They're projected. So, as far as the projected and the percentage of the Magic making the playoffs, right now it is at 56%. So, the entire Magic fan base, right now, you have a realistic chance at making the playoffs. Now, if you want to win your first round playoff series, we have to think about who you are going to face in that matchup. But all in all, this was a good segment. And also, this is me giving my last few moments. With that, that is my remaining season outlook for the Orlando Magic. And remember, please like, comment, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, and the KeyOnMillions.co. And before I sign off, I've got to play the theme song once again. So everybody have a good day, and I will have more segments next week on the NBA. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, and the KeyOnMillions.co. Here is my merchandise. We have so much merchandise, and we are going to have more merchandise next month and throughout the entirety of this year. Here is my profile so that you will know it's me, and here is my media feed so you can go and look at my recent segments, clips, and sound bites from previous shows. And remember, everybody, one last thing: the key is always on time.